When you experience something new and you find something that you love, you find your passion. And when you find your passion, it ignites you as a person. You just feel awesome. All right, so I'm here with Rob. We're gonna do a little interview. We are at a competition right now, the Icon competition. This is my first time competing.
Sweet, this is a good competition to be your first one.
Yeah, why is that?
There's a lot, I don't really do a whole lot of sport jiu-jitsu. Most guys in our gym don't really get into it, a few guys do. But there's a ton of rules. It's single elimination. People get really intense. Mm-hmm. This tournament has a much cooler rule set. It's much more open. It's a round robin format, so you're gonna get a bunch of matches. Basically, you're in your division and you roll with everybody there. 0 points if you lose, 1 point if you tie, 2 points if you win. Whoever gets the highest number of points wins. If there's multiple divisions in whatever your category is, then you go off from there.
And it's nice. I like the submission only format.
Yeah,
I find it
exactly.
It's more in line with self-defense,
Yes.
where they're
it's way more in line with self-defense, and the rules for the non-submission only gets irritating because then it's points, and it's was this an advantage and this
and they're stalling,
there's
and
way too much judging. There's just way too much
judgy,
bullshit.
Too judgy.
Way too.
So
judgy.
what was your first? How long before you competed?
That's a good question. I'm not sure that I remember my
Was it a year?
very first. The first competition that I remember, I was a blue belt, so that would have been a couple of years anyway. But I think I did it before that.
And take us to the day. Were you super nervous
the first one I remember was really funny because Jay was like, "How much do you weigh?" And I was like, "Whatever I weighed at the time." And he's like, "Oh, cool. We need a guy for because there was a team division. That's what did it. Because usually I didn't compete a whole lot." And I was like, "He's like, you want to compete?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Never done it. Other than I probably did some tiny little thing or whatever. I don't care. I never got nervous. I was just like, oh, this is rolling.
Yeah.
But for me, it was because it was a team thing. So it was I'm a spot on a team. I just got to go out and do the best I can and not worry about it. And it was super fun.
So yeah, today's my first time.
Yes.
I've been training for a month and 3 weeks now.
Which is a very short period of time for a lot of people to do their first competition.
Yeah, so I'm going into it with a mind frame of
Crystal's doing the badass thing.
whatever happens,
for sure.
I lose, then it's a learning experience. If I win, then that's cool.
The hardest thing I think for people first starting is just listen to whoever's coaching you.
Use it as a sweep nugget if you can't get it.
Because your brain's engaged in doing, so it's not engaged in planning. And if you can have somebody that's when Jay's coaching, I remember one tournament, he's like, grab your take your left hand and do this, and I'm like, that sounds like a really bad idea, but you just do it, and you're like, oh, that's why I did that, and then everything goes better. Executive functioning goes down.
Yeah.
So just let your coach.
Primal instincts.
Yeah, and it's a good skill, the skill of being able to divide your attention between I'm handling this person, but I'm aware of what my surroundings, and this person over here who I trust is telling me to do this, so maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
Even though you're you just want to hold on and be no drama, I'm winning, I just want to stay here, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be nope, stay aggressive, do your thing.
Sweet. So yeah, definitely go to realizelifewebsite.com, get your Realize Life membership pass. You can get 50% off your first month, 25% off your second month of training, so then you can come, hang out with us. You should see how big of a group
come out. Oh yeah, you should do an academy.
Yeah,
panorama.
we have a sign with a corner.
We're not